Hey everybody, welcome back to another Fireside Chats. We are here at the Ottobock headquarters in Austin, Texas, and today I'm chatting with Billy Brimblecom Jr., a long line of Brimblecoms.
That's right.
And you are the creator of a Step of Faith Foundation, Steps of Faith.
Executive director.
Executive director.
Yes, yes.
A musician.
Yes.
Cancer survivor.
Yes.
A dad.
Yeah.
A friend.
Yeah.
A coffee drinker.
Keep going, yeah.
Well, why don't you tell me your story on how you acquired your limb loss?
Yeah, so in 2005, actually, let's take a trip back.
Let's go way back.
Let's go way back, 1999. I was in, I say it's the first time I had cheated death. So I was in a really terrible car accident, snowy highway thing, and car wrecked, jaws of life were used.
Wow.
It was super gnarly. Like I was in a little pickup truck. They had to cut the top of the pickup truck off to get in to get me. It was crazy.
That's bad. It was real bad.
It was very bad. And really banged up, and I had a compression fracture on 3 of my vertebrae, and was in a back brace for a few years. And funny, here we are in Austin. That was 1999, and I remember being in the emergency room and saying, here's the deal. I have a very important show with my band at the South by Southwest conference in 1 month. Will I be able to play it? And they're like, let's not worry about that right now. And I did play it.
And that is important.
That is important. The Electric Lounge, no longer around. So anyway, so that was terrible, but got better. Then later that summer, I, in the middle of the night, woke up and had really terrible pain in my left ankle and kept me up for like 3 nights, and it was really bad. And then went away for 3 months or whatever. Long story short, over time, this pain started happening more often. It would last longer when it would come on, and the level of the pain was higher.
Yeah.
And so then
dialed up.
it was dialed up. So at the beginning, and I'd had it looked at a time or two, and so the general thought that it was some sort of nerve damage from my back and the crazy car accident. And so I finally went to a neurologist in January of 2005, and then he did all these tests, and he said, I don't believe this is a neurological issue. Have you had this scanned? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. And, so scan. And then ultimately determined that it was Ewing sarcoma.
Yeah, which is a soft tissue cancer, correct?
Yes.
That's, the
it can also, I think mine was in soft tissue and a little bit of the bone, so I think it's,
Cancer,
sarcomas, they're all bad.
They can just, exactly. They're like,
They're
it's
all
full-on
bad.
cancer.
Yeah.
That's really the
you
most
don't want
important
any
part.
of them. But no, that was it. So really shortly thereafter, still pretty early on at the beginning of the year, 2005, that was the diagnosis, and got right into chemo and, off to the races.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of all that was the news that the leg would, in order to save my life, my doctor had told me before I had the first biopsy, which was kind of the final test,
Yeah.
He went through all the things that it could be and what we would do if it was, if it's this, we'll do this. And so he went through all of those things, and I was like, okay. So, and he was like, the only reason you would lose your leg, he knew what I was going to say, would be to save your life. And I was like, fair enough. So that's where we ended up.
Yeah, that's ultimately where it all ends up. So is there a reason why, so you're actually an above the knee amputee,
right,
but your tumor is in your ankle.
Yes.
Why?
So it was, I feel like it's easier to illustrate with the sound leg, but I mean, basically it was really high up,
Okay, yeah.
So it was like, because it was like, they want to get, it's all about margins, clear margins with cancer, right? So they wanted to basically, I think that I couldn't have articulated this at the time, but now knowing what I know about how prosthetic stuff works, I think it was just so high, there wouldn't have been enough residual limb to be below knee to really make it work.
To grab onto. Yeah.
And so with it being 3 inches above the knee, as far as AK goes, I'm in good shape.
Yeah, you're sitting pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got plenty of, my orthopedist, I remember, I saw him a lot throughout the years, and when I would go in, and there was always a new resident, especially when I'd see him once a year, And then he would be like, okay, let's take a look at the lake. And then he'd always be like, isn't this beautiful? Isn't this beautiful?
Chef's kiss,
to
yeah.
the, you know, his work. Yeah,
He's like, look at my masterpiece.
Exactly. But I mean, he's a brilliant genius of a surgeon man who you know, is like one of the most sought after in the country. And when I'd be in the waiting room, there'd be people from all over the country all the time in there. And so I feel really lucky in that he was just the guy that was local to me, you know, and so that was the guy that my primary care doctor, when I was like, what's going on with what the neurologists say? And he was like, well, you have something the size of a large apple in your ankle. Anyway, that was the guy that just was local to me. And that's the guy that, along with my oncologist, the team saved my life.
Yeah. So were you still playing music throughout all of this as well?
Yeah.
Tell me about your music career.
Yeah. So I was 28 when that happened in 2005, and I had been playing drums since I was 11, you know, 6th grade, and was playing.
Were you like in the school band or like
all that stuff?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
That's cool.
so in grade school, this is the late 80s for me. So very prominent in popular music, the saxophone.
Nice.
It's back in pop music.
The saxophone has made a comeback.
It's made a comeback.
It's making a comeback.
So I wanted to play the saxophone in 5th grade when you could start band, and then they put me on the clarinet, because here's a way when you're a child to get someone really excited about playing an instrument is make them play a different one.
Yeah, when you start getting a good one, they're like, all right, time to be bad again.
Yeah, boy. Anyway, so I played clarinet for a year, and that bummed me out, and then started playing drums in 6th grade. And yeah, was in band, and then had and actually had a rock band when I only had a snare drum. Before I had a drum set, and then I got a drum set for Christmas.
Like, you've been resourceful for a very long time.
Right. That's right. I made it work.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I got a drum set in 6th grade, and then yeah, was playing, you know, at least playing clubs and places that I was too young to be in, and we would get kicked out after we played in high school, like 16. So like my dad, that's when, like, you know, Dad, you have to come with me to the gig, because in order for us to be able to play this club with these adults in these bars.
That's amazing, though.
And yeah, so we had a good dad team. But yeah, so you know, I did all that all through high school, and jazz band and marching band and all those things, and was in rock bands and all that, and went to college for a year.
Yeah, tested it out.
A year.
Yeah.
I went for a year. Was very serious about pursuing jazz music, and went to the University of Kansas on a very teeny tiny, but legitimate jazz scholarship, and for the drums. And then, yeah, joined this, like, basically what was like the biggest rock band in Lawrence, Kansas at the time, at Semester.
The Metropolis.
Well, see, yeah, so this was 1995, and so, you know, grunge is still in full swing. And true story, Lawrence, according to MTV News, so you know it's true.
That's an official news source.
Yeah, that ain't fake news.
Or it was.
Current loader. Lawrence was one of the cities that, you know, so grunge happens, and so basically record labels go, oh, rock music, and they sign all these bands. It was actually like a really great thing, where it's like all these just like normal rock bands got major label record deals all over the country. Lawrence, for about 15 minutes, was the next Seattle.
Oh.
Yeah, for about 15 minutes, yeah.
Then they're like, the weather here is pretty, I mean, Seattle,
right,
right? Yeah.
Right, yeah. It's less rainy, this is better. Anyway, so I joined a band that was like that, and that was signed to a major label, and was basically being dropped from the major label by the time I joined. But that actually set the trajectory, at least for a long time, for my music career. Just being in, you know, like working, not famous, but like playing shows to people, rock and roll bands for a long time.
Which is like, I feel like a good deal, because you can go to Starbucks now and not, you know, be recognized and just live your life. But at the same time, like, you still get to, you know, you get to like moonlight.
Yeah.
As, you know,
No, yeah, I mean, it's
in the lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, it's sure. Yeah, it's I mean, everybody likes to, you know, have people caring about what you're doing or applauding or whatever. I mean, I'm just like I now kind of have the perspective, since I don't play music as much, but just, you know, I wanted for so long to be like identified as like this drummer musician guy. I mean, like, really bad.
Yeah.
Like in middle school, for instance, you know, 7th and 8th grade, where I grew up, it's middle school. Tough time for everybody.
Nobody likes middle school. Literally, no one would go back and be like, you know what?
I really miss.
One more time.
Yeah, I really miss
Victory
8th grade. Yeah, terrible.
Nobody had a good
And so,
time.
like, for me, like, my experience was, you know, when you're a boy and you're that age, if you're not good at sports, you're kind of a dork, you know, and I was not good at sports. But, you know, I'd been playing the drums for a couple years at that point, and fortunately, it came naturally to me, and so I was kind of good at it, but also no one else was good at it in my school.
Nice.
So
you were really good at it.
So I
yeah.
became recognized as this guy who did this thing that no one else did. So it was in good and bad, but it was kind of like the birth of ego and confidence as a adolescent trying to come of age child
Yeah.
person. So that was a really good thing. And so, but it was just like, well, that's my thing. I mean, freshman year of high school, I would walk around, true story, with drumsticks in my
Yes.
back pocket, so people would ask.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Just in case a drum pops up.
In a pinch, you need me to bust out some Wipeout. But now I realize that the thing that, even not doing it for a living, that the thing that I, as a kid, tried so hard to be recognized for or whatever, you know, is just always was then and still is just a part of me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's just this natural thing. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a reason that, like, you know, certain people, whether you're famous or not, just are always painting or making music or creating or whatever, the cooking, you know, until they die.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
it's like another. It's a vein that comes out of you.
Exactly.
Into something else.
Yeah.